Hi, this video is here to help you with reading number lines marked in units of 1 that are split into 2, 4, 5 or 10 equal parts. This is useful when you're measuring because measuring equipment such as rulers, jugs or scales often have sections like this. To help us read these number lines, we need to know what each section is worth when 1 is divided by 2, 4, 5 and 10. We can use our knowledge of fraction and decimal equivalents for this. So 1 divided by 2 gives us halves, and half is equivalent to 0.5. 1 divided by 4 gives us quarters, and a quarter is equivalent to 0.25. 1 divided by 5 gives us fifths, and 1/5 is equivalent to 0.2. 1 divided by 10 gives us tenths, and 1/10 is equivalent to 0.1. Now let's take a look at how we'd use this on a number line. To answer this question, we need to identify the number that's represented by the position marked on the number line. The number line is marked in ones, and each whole is divided into 4 equal sections. We can use our fraction decimal equivalents to help us work out what each smaller section is worth. 1 divided by 4 equals 0.25. If each section is 0.25, we need to count in 0.25s to find the answer. The first marker after 0 will be 0.25. The second marker will be 0.5. And the third marker will be 0.75. So the arrow is pointing to 0.75. On this number line, what number is marked by the arrow now? Pause the video here and have a go. We already know that each section is 0.25, so starting from the 1 mark, the next marker would be 1.25, and the second marker would be 1.5, so the arrow is pointing at 1.5. What if the number line is vertical? We can still identify the marked number in the same way. On this number line, there are 5 sections between 6 and 7, so each section is 1/5. We can use our fraction decimal equivalents to see that 1/5 is equivalent to 0.2, so we need to count on in jumps of 0.2 starting from 6. The first marker will be 6.2, the next marker is 6.4, and the next marker is 6.6, so the arrow is pointing at 6.6. Now it's your turn. A number line can also appear on measuring equipment. Use your skills to identify the points marked on these number lines. Pause here to have a go and then press play when you're ready to check your answers. How did you get on? Brilliant! The ruler is showing 8.5 centimetres. The measuring jug is showing 0.8 litres. The measuring jug is showing 2.25 litres. The scales are showing 3.4 kilograms. Now it's time for a challenge. Work out the weight shown on each scale and put them in order from lightest to heaviest. Pause now to have a go at answering the question. How did you get on? Great. Scale A shows 1.5 kilograms. Scale B shows 1.25 kilograms. Scale C shows 1.8 kilograms. And scale D shows 1.1 kilograms. That means that the order from lightest to heaviest is D, B, A, C. I hope this video helped you understand how to read number lines marked in units of 1 that are split into 2, 4, 5 and 10 equal parts. If you're looking for more maths help, then we've got lots more of these videos on the Twinkl website. This video is here to help you with estimating on a number line up to 1000. Let's start by looking at a number line with the divisions marked on it. This number line starts at 0 and it ends at 1000. There are 10 intervals, so we need to divide 1000 by 10 to find out how much each interval is worth. 1,000 divided by 10 equals 100, so each interval is worth 100. Now we can write these on the number line to help us. 100, 200, 300, 400. The arrow is pointing to approximately halfway between 300 and 400. There's 100 between 300 and 400, and half of 100 is 50. So halfway between 300 and 400 is 350. The arrow is approximately halfway between 300 and 400. So a good estimate would be that it is pointing to 350. On the same number line, what number is this arrow pointing to? We already know that each interval is 100, so we can mark those on the number line. The arrow is closer to 1,000 than 0, so we can count back from 1,000 in hundreds. 1,000, 900, 800, 700. The arrow is pointing between 700 and 800. Let's mark the halfway point between 700 and 800. Halfway between 700 and 800 is 750. The arrow is closer to 700 than 800, so the number is between 700 and 750. The arrow is approximately halfway between 700 and 750. Half of 50 is 25, so halfway between 700 and 750 is 725. A good estimate for where the arrow is pointing would be between 720 and 730. So, when there are marked intervals on a number line, we can use these to help us to estimate the position. But what if there are no marked intervals? We can still do the same thing by adding in our own interval lines. On this number line we have 0 and 500 marked. Half of 500 is 250, so halfway between 0 and 500 is 250, and we can mark the approximate position on our number line. Now we can see that the number marked by the arrow is between 0 and 250. Half of 250 is 125, so halfway between 0 and 250 is 125. We can mark the approximate position on our number line. Now we can see that the number marked by the arrow is between 0 and 125 and is very close to 125. A good estimate would be between 115 and 125. Now it's your turn. Estimate the position of the arrow on each of these number lines. You could copy the number lines and mark the approximate positions on them to help you estimate. Pause the video now while you make your estimates. How did you get on? Let's take a look together. Pause the video again if you want to take a closer look at the markings used to help you estimate. A good estimate for the number at point A would be between 830 to 840. A good estimate for the number at point B would be between 628 and 638. A good estimate for the number at point C would be between 390 and 410. Now let's take a look at estimating on a number line when it's on measuring equipment. Bella says that weighing scale B shows a greater weight because the needle is further around the dial. Is she correct? Use your estimation skills to read the weight shown on each scale to explain your answer. Pause now while you answer the question. How did you get on? The number line on scale A goes from 0 to 1,000 grams and is split into 5 sections. So each section is 200 grams. The needle is pointing to approximately halfway between 200 and 400, which is 300. So scale A shows approximately 300 grams. The number line on scale B goes from 0 to 400 grams and is split into 8 sections. So each section is 50 grams. The needle is pointing between 250 and 300 and is closer to 300. So scale B shows approximately 290 grams. So Bella is wrong because scale A shows a greater weight. I hope this helped you understand how to estimate on a number line up to 1000. If you're looking for more maths help, then we've got lots more of these videos on the Twinkl website, so go and check them out.